You're headed to Houston. How does that sound?
We're gonna see, man. We're gonna see what happens, man. We're gonna see.
Owens, Mark Coffey, and Stacey Keebler. That's pack one. We don't keep going,
So about 2 days ago, Kevin Durant found out he got traded to the Houston Rockets while on stage in the Fanatics Fest up in New York. And he got told that by a fan who's in the crowd, and he got told that he got traded. And it was a tweet coming from Shams. When I saw that trade, I couldn't believe it, because in my mind, at that time, I was preparing for the Game 7 for the Indiana Pacers versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, shout out to OKC. They were able to win it. This is kind of poetic because the team that drafted KD ended up winning the championship without him, and he left to Golden State in 2016 after failing to win a championship with the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's a very sad situation for KD because his GOAT status is getting challenged. And I don't think a lot of people are going to be putting KD in the GOAT conversation anytime soon, because post Golden State, Kevin Durant has been in the worst possible situation because he's not been able to wield his teams to become title contenders. He tried in Brooklyn, it didn't work. He tried with the Phoenix Suns, it failed spectacularly. The man didn't even make it to West Finals. That was how bad it was. And looking at him right now, he kind of looks weird, and it's a pathetic situation because I really like KD. I really enjoy watching KD. Looking at how even his reaction, he was laughing, and it's something that I can't even say he was expecting it to happen, because every single day on ESPN, and I was watching ESPN, you could see there was a segment dedicated to Kevin Durant trade talks. So on the same day, the league was set to crown a new champion in Game 7 for the NBA Finals. One of the biggest stars in the NBA, in Kevin Durant, found out he got traded, and that reaction that he had, the way it happened and the manner in which it happened, it raised a lot of eyebrows in there. So KD was on stage in New York engaging with fans, celebrities, and the media as part of the annual Fanatics Fest, an event meant to celebrate the culture and commerce of the sport. It was meant to be a routine appearance, but some chants came out from the crowds shouting, "You got traded." So Durant composed, flashed a knowing grin, and responded with a characteristic coolness. So Shams, he came out and tweeted that KD got traded, and honestly, if you ask me, this is something that you never expect, like a two-time champion, somebody who's touted to be one of the faces of the league some few years prior, looking this pathetic. So this was Shams' tweet, and he came out and said, KD got traded to the Houston Rockets, something that caught me off guard. Okay, I was not expecting him to go to the Houston Rockets at all. So it wasn't just a random rumor being hurled from the crowd. Just a few minutes before, ESPN's Shams Charania came out and brought out the news. The Phoenix Suns were sending Durant to the Houston Rockets in exchange for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and the 10th pick of the 2025 NBA draft, and 5 second-rounders. So Kevin Durant's trade saga came to its dramatic conclusion. I mean, ESPN and all the mainstream media in the NBA came out of the woodwork trying to figure out, where is KD going to end up? Where is he going to get traded? So as reported by Shams, the Phoenix Suns sent a package to the Houston Rockets centered around KD, and it was one of the blockbuster trades. So the other trade that we covered previously in the previous videos, we talked about Desmond Bane getting traded to the Orlando Magic, and the Memphis Grizzlies are opting in for a new players so they can move forward with their organization. So that was the first major trade. That's the first major domino, and this one was great. So in this one, I'm going to go ahead and unpack everything that you need to know, especially when it comes to even the roster and how the Houston Rockets can be able to go from here, and also the Phoenix Suns, because this league not only offers drama on the court. I was not expecting such a thing to happen, because you've seen even players getting traded even mid-game. You can see the situation with Harrison Barnes. He got traded when he was in the Dallas Mavericks to the Sacramento Kings, and that time it was like 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and the man just learned that he got traded. There's that. So John Gambadoro, he came out and tweeted a deal was being set up for KD to get traded, and there was a reason to believe KD may have known something that was on the rocks, because even if his reaction, you could see he expected it. So Suns insider John Gambadoro had reported just hours earlier that a dealing involving KD was very close, and that the Phoenix Suns were actively negotiating with multiple teams. Given KD's stature and influence, it's hard to imagine that he hadn't been tipped off that something of this level was going to happen that soon. So still, the timing was still jaw-dropping on a day that the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder were set to battle for a championship in a highly anticipated Game 7. I mean, the league's attention momentarily shifted to KD again. So this was sad because they didn't expect KD to get traded in a night that everything was on a standstill. The whole world was waiting on that Game 7 between the Indiana Pacers and the OKC Thunder. And the OKC Thunder went ahead and won the title. So in a testament to his enduring relevance and star power, that even after a quiet playoff exit with Phoenix, he can still grab the headlines in the biggest night of the year. So I didn't expect KD to grab headlines because, I mean, that announcement by Shams kind of took out the air of the way people are looking at the whole league the way it is. Because even in the last game, the game that's supposed to be the biggest game in the NBA, I mean, KD's sideshows and his trade took over a bit, but it was only momentarily. So this isn't just any trade, because it's the kind of move that could reshape the Western Conference. Durant joins a loaded Rockets squad that finished with a 52-30 record last season, with rising stars like Aparal Şengün, Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith Jr., and veteran leader Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet, he was a champion of the Raptors. So the move instantly vaults Houston into instant title contention. The move of KD going to the Houston Rockets ends month of speculation surrounding KD's future, because the Phoenix Suns didn't even make the playoffs as they finished the 11th seed. So even with the Suns missing the playoffs, it was a sad situation because KD, he wanted out. Bradley Beal, he's not going to avoid his no trade clause, and Devin Booker is just left there high and dry. And it is a sad situation because the Phoenix Suns, their 11th place finish in the West. I mean, rumors had swirled about a mutual agreement between the franchise and KD to seek a new destination. So initially, 5 teams were reported in the mix: the Houston Rockets, San Antonio Spurs, Miami Heat, Minnesota Timberwolves, and the New York Knicks. But Durant eventually signaled a willingness to sign a long-term extension with only 3 of them: the Rockets, Spurs, and Heat. So the Minnesota Timberwolves, I talked about this in a previous video, KD just did not want to be there, and he categorically came out with his agent. The main frontrunners were the Spurs, Heat, and Rockets. The Spurs were at one point considered the frontrunners. Reports emerged suggesting KD viewed the San Antonio Spurs as his destination, and the Suns prepared a package that included the 14th pick and 2 promising young players. But the Phoenix Suns rejected that offer, and as trade talks advanced, Houston's patient approach ultimately paid off, and they were very patient. They really waited. So the Rockets eliminated in a grueling Game 7 first round series by the Golden State Warriors. Despite their early exit, the Rockets had shown enough promise with a talented young core led by Fred VanVleet, Aparal Şengün, Amen Thompson, and Jabari Smith Jr. However, what they lacked was a proven superstar who could elevate them to serious contention. But this time, they do have one in KD. So KD, even at age 36, is still one of the most lethal scorers in the NBA. He averaged 26.6 points, 6.0 rebounds, and 4.2 assists last season, while shooting at a sad 52.7% from the field and 43% from beyond the arc. So the man was exemplary. So Kevin Durant brings a lot of championship pedigree and knowledge, his veteran leadership, and clutch shot making to a Houston Rockets team, and now have become one of the most dangerous teams in the league. And the Houston Rockets are looking to go over the hump right now, even with the extension that Ime Udoka was given, which I'm going to look at in the later parts of this video. You can see the commitment that the Houston Rockets have. So for the Phoenix Suns, this trade marks the end of the ambitious Big 3 experiment with Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. And Marius Beer is literally crying in the toilet. So the trio of KD, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal never gelled, and the Suns struggled with depth, injury, and a lack of identity. Now they pivot towards a new direction. Jalen Green, a 23-year-old explosive scorer who can help form a dynamic backcourt alongside Devin Booker. Dylan Brooks, a tenacious defender and a 3-and-D presence, also add toughness to the roster. So in addition to Green and Brooks, Phoenix acquired the number 10th pick in the upcoming draft and now hold 3 first-round picks and 8 second-round picks. That gives them the flexibility to either develop young talent or make aggressive moves to surround Booker and balance out the roster and make a sustainable roster to last the future. So at some point, the Phoenix Suns were down bad because they didn't even have first-round picks when they got eliminated in the first round last season, and they didn't have first-round picks until 2031. But this is a lucky situation because at least they've been able to flip it to a few draft assets. But hey, I mean, so it's still a tough one for the Phoenix Suns because, man, they really underachieved. And I can even say underachievement was an understatement. But the spotlight now shifts to the Houston Rockets with Durant leading the way. The Rockets are no longer future title contenders. They're a new team locked and loaded and ready to challenge for for the Western Conference top seat. And as we speak right now, it's OKC who are seated there. So do you think the Houston Rockets have what it takes with a 36-year-old KD? I'm not sure, but it is what it is. So the Miami Heat reportedly walked away from a final opportunity to land KD. According to Shams, the Phoenix Suns made one last trade offer to the Miami Heat for KD, but the Heat declined. So the proposed package included Jamie Jackson Jr., Nikola Jovic, Haywood Highsmith, and the number 20th pick in the 2025 NBA draft, and additional draft capital. The Suns, who are determined to move Durant this summer, ultimately pivoted to the Houston Rockets after the Miami Heat stepped back. So yeah, I mean, the Miami Heat said, we don't want to deal with that, and we want a better deal. And if you're not gonna, play ball with us, I mean, it's a tough one, because there's a high likelihood, like, the waiting game really weighed on the Miami Heat, and they really didn't want to wait, and they stepped back. So, but before that deal came together, the Suns had been engaging. But before that deal came together, the Suns had been engaged in multiple rounds of talks with Miami. One of the new teams, Durant, was reportedly willing to commit to long term, and the Heat had their chance, but ultimately decided to hold on to their young core. So yeah, I mean, sometimes teams just pull away. So from a developmental standpoint, the players Miami refused to part with are intriguing but not untouchable. Jamie Jackson Jr., who turned heads during his rookie season, averaged 8.6 points, 4.4 boards, and 2.5 assists on 46% shooting from the field in his second year. He brings toughness, intelligence, and a versatile skill set that fits the Heat culture. Nikola Jovic showed flashes as a stretch forward, putting up 10.7 points, 3.9 rebounds, and 2.9 assists, while shooting 37.1% from downtown. Haywood Highsmith quietly became a strong role player, averaging 6.5 points while shooting 38% from deep. With Jimmy Butler gone and Bam Adebayo in his prime, this might have been Miami's last best shot to bring in somebody who can make them a legitimate contender post Jimmy Butler. So, I mean, the Miami Heat are down bad right now, and I don't know how they're going to recover from here, because, I mean, as other teams are getting better, they kind of regressed and they got swept by the Cleveland Cavaliers. And man, who would ever thought they had the chance of getting KD, but, they ultimately held on to their young core, and they believe, like, they have what it took. We'll just know as we move forward. So reports indicate that the Heat had already placed former lottery pick Kelly Wire off limits, seeing him as a potential future cornerstone. That made Durant's acquisition harder to justify without gutting their remaining youth. But in hindsight, the price offered doesn't seem unreasonable for a player of Durant's caliber, especially one who reportedly will have signed off on the move. The NBA landscape just shifted KD with the Houston Rockets, and the league, especially in the West, everything just keeps changing. So what Houston got in return is a proven battle-tested superstar who immediately transforms their lineup into one of the most dangerous in the Western Conference. So the projected starting five for the Houston Rockets looks like this. So you have Fred VanVleet at the point, Thompson at the shooting guard, Kevin Durant at the small forward, Jabari Smith Jr. at the power forward, and Apparel Şengün at the center. So this lineup isn't just balanced, it's big, versatile, defensively sound, and oozes offensive firepower, especially with KD as the four-time scoring champion, two-time finals MVP. So the Rockets, with them adding KD there and coming at the greatest cost of Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green, it doesn't hurt them as much, but still the Houston Rockets are looking towards challenging for the title. So Fred VanVleet, the floor general, will continue to run the show. He averaged 14.1 points, 3.7 rebounds, and 5.5 assists last season, while his shooting percentages, 37.8% from the field, 34.5% from downtown, were elite. VanVleet proved his worth in the playoffs with veteran composure and clutch shot making. So the Rockets hold a $44.8 million team option on his contract, and current reports indicate that the plan is to either pick it up or negotiate a longer deal to reduce the cap hit. So either way, Fred VanVleet is expected to remain as a steady hand at point. So Thompson moves into a full-time starting role as the shooting guard after Green's departure. The 6'7" sophomore was a revelation last year, averaging 14 points, 8.2 boards, while shooting an impressive 56% from the field. His defense is always elite, and with KD drawing more defensive attention, Thompson could explode as a secondary slasher and transitional weapon. So KD slots in at his usual small forward position. Even at 36, he's still one of the most efficient and feared scorers in the NBA. Last season in Phoenix, he put up 26.6 points, 6 rebounds, and 4.2 assists assists on 53% shooting, and a ridiculous 43% from beyond the arc. So the Rockets lacked a go-to scorer in games in the playoffs, especially when they match up Golden State in the first round, and KD fits in that role perfectly. So Jabari Smith Jr. gets a well-earned promotion. The former third pick will take over the starting power forward spot after a strong campaign which he averaged 12.2 points and 7 rebounds while shooting 44% from the field and 35% from deep. So Smith's ability to stretch the floor and guard multiple positions will complement Durant perfectly and give Houston an extremely switchable front court. So the Houston Rockets right now are kind of looking solid because April Şengün, the all-star center and emotional how the team remains the focal point. Şengün averaged a double-double of 19 points, 10 boards, and 5 assists while shooting 50% from the floor. So with Durant attracting more defensive pressure, Şengün will enjoy more room to operate in the post. So his playmaking from the elbow and top of the key should unlock a dynamic two-man game with KD that is nearly impossible to guard. So Rockets bench is still loaded. They kept Steven Adams. He's signed to a 3-year deal. Reed Shepard, Jock Landale, Aaron Holiday, Tyree Eason, Cam Whitmore, offering both veteran grit and youthful upside. Eason and Whitmore in particular are athletic wings who can help sustain the pace when the starters are at rest. Head coach Ime Udoka, who recently signed an extension, now has one of the deepest and most flexible rosters in the league. So this is more than a super team on paper. It's a roster built for May and June. Durable, hungry, and balanced. Durant brings not only championship pedigree but also a mentality shift. This team no longer needs to wait its turn with KD. The Rockets are here, and the West, I feel like, should be very afraid of this team. And with the Houston Rockets coach Ime Udoka agreeing to a long-term contract extension that makes him one of the highest paid coaches in the NBA while being a top coach in the Western Conference, the Rockets have their future set right now. So Udoka's extension comes after he guided Houston to its first top 2 seed in the West in 7 years. In Udoka's second season, the team went 52-30 and made its first playoff appearance since the 2019-2020 season after they got knocked out in the first round by the Golden State Warriors in 7 games this season. So, I mean, with this move when KD got traded, what do you think about it? Because, man, it caught me off guard. I didn't expect it to happen that soon, especially in the manner in which it happened. So yeah, this is what it is. So do drop me your comments down in the comment section down below. I will leave the full interview with KD when he received the news, courtesy of Fanatics. So enjoy that. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to get notified because I'm going to be releasing a ton of content of this nature. I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Kevin Durant. Okay, hold on. Anything new? Anything you want to tell me?
Everything's been pretty solid, pretty much the same the last couple weeks.
Can I introduce you for the first time ever, maybe, as Houston Rocket Kevin Durant?
That would be very fitting right now, yeah.
What does that feel like? It happened moments ago here at Fanatics Fest. What is going on?
Fanatics Fest is crazy. If you haven't been here and been tapped in, anything can happen at Fanatics Fest, like me getting traded. But being a part of the Houston Rockets, I'm looking forward to it. Crazy last couple weeks, but I'm glad it's over with.
Kevin, I watched you. You didn't find out then. You knew before, right?
I had an idea, but I didn't know exactly when it was going to happen. So I'm glad we kind of did this on stage. It worked out. Fanatics Fest deserved to have that moment.
It was unbelievable. And then I watched it, and honestly, every tooth is showing. You were smiling. What did that feel like? How do you feel? How happy are you?
You know, when people could just hang your career in a balance like that and just choose what they want to do with your career, it's a nerve-wracking feeling, but being able to kind of dictate what you want to do and then being with a team that values you, and I'm looking forward to it.
Kevin, people are going to hold on to that dictate what you want to do. Did you have a hand in this?
Most definitely.
How much of it?
I mean, they asked me where I wanted to go. Some of my destinations, I gave it to them, and here we are.
Can you tell me what, I'm going to follow you wherever you go. I'm going to be your biggest fan. I want to know why Houston. Obviously, close to Austin, you've got, Amen's there, Jeff Green's there, you played with him. Why Houston?
We just had a great season last year, love their leadership. I felt like I'd be a good addition.
Are we recruiting Russell Westbrook? We're going to bring all the okay.
After that, we just got one thing figured out today. We'll figure the rest out as we go, It's still early.
You seem very happy.
I am.
Why are you turning from the camera?
Oh, yeah, my bad.
I'm not just talking to you. What is happening? Micah Parsons was just here. Do you want to recruit him to the Commanders? Yeah. Micah, get on in here.
I think Micah,
he's not signed to the Cowboys.
Let's do this. I think he will be a Commander at some point in his career.
When?
I would say 2 years from now.
Yo,
Commander.
I only rock with Dan Quinn. You know what I mean? Anybody else?
Exactly. That's all he need to rock with.
My
at
neck
that.
hurts. You guys are too tall. I can't handle this. Micah, I love you. This is the Houston Rocket.
I know. Hey, he know I'm finna come and support. Hey,
All
that's
right.
my dog, Slim Reaper.
Slim Reaper for life. Okay, one last one for you. You love that it happened at Fanatics games. Why is that?
Say it again.
Why did you love that this happened at Fanatics games, Fanatics Fest?
It's just to celebrate sport in general, man. It's just great atmosphere, great community of sports fans, and it was fit. I thought it was fitting for that to happen here, so it's cool.
How dangerous are the Rockets going to be now?
We shall see. We shall see.
Kevin, how dangerous? What do I need to know?
Be a solid team. I mean, they were won 50 plus games last year. Played a great season, but all this stuff takes time and work and effort and execution. So we'll see what happens.
Last one for you. A lot of heartbroken Suns fans right now. What would you like to say? That's not true. No, literally, heartbroken Suns fan, right over there. What?
I just felt like, I mean, they wanted me to go. So it's like, I'm glad we both, they got what they wanted and I got what I wanted. So we can move on, and good luck to them going forward. And I always remember my time there, but we on something else.
Now you're going to go kick Tom Brady's ass at Fanatics games.
Exactly.